You're
It,
recording us? Man, the CIA can't find me. I gotta go.
okay, I just started recording 5 seconds ago. Uh,
Haha.
Hey,
Oh
hello
shit.
YouTube.
You want us to comment on the match
yeah,
between, you and Scarabix?
yeah.
Well, I guess it's only me because you guys played. I'm just the third wheel, so to speak.
Yeah,
No, your insight is very welcome, dude.
yeah, we appreciate it, man. I think
So, King Rex, you ever played this map already?
Oh yeah, I had a few games on this map. I haven't lost yet.
you
So I'm not
haven't
gonna
lost
say I'm
yet.
an expert, but at least I haven't lost yet. So that has to account for something.
I think it's one of my most played maps in the folk global league, behind
Hmm.
Vandalims. Yeah, I think it's one that I play the most. Okay, so here in tier 3, I would say that Drake feels really strong, to be honest.
Mhm.
I really like it. But the problem with Drake is then you face Andy and then you well, you're a bit screwed. So here just,
Sure.
okay, just like this. We start and
Can
you
I say
didn't.
something really quick about this map?
Yeah, you can tell me,
We
King.
just did a stream. It was I think Go 7 against Eagle,
Uh huh.
and it's very interesting if you guys want to watch it on his channel. But he went really. They both went really strong on the center. And I noticed that not many people do that because most people have sort of like an L-shaped army.
Yes.
Protect your base and attack on the other side. Well, this was different. They had a lot of unit in the center as a way to shift your power or your aggression from one side to the other, depending. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Especially Go 7 and Eagle are really high. I mean, I'm talking like top of the line players. It was really interesting how they play from the rest of, me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disclaimer though, this was my first time playing on the map. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but you'll see some questionable stuff. And this brings us to my first move with this infantry going for the cap on the city,
Yeah.
as opposed to the.
Maybe you didn't
The
notice the
logic
base.
behind this was. Sorry.
You didn't notice the base, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't go for the base right away because I thought I would need the font very early because Drake's SCO power cost this much, and I was already thinking of um, building up funds as opposed to unit count, so maybe that's a bit of a questionable go there.
I mean, bases give income too, man. If you think about
Well,
it.
Yeah, anything
this one
besides
though, it's
labs and farm towers.
Exactly.
mm,
That's the
yeah, but
only
this one
thing.
though, it's between sims. It's between sims, so you don't get extra caps for capping it. Like
But the thing,
usually you'll cap the base because it gives you infantries to cap more, but this one doesn't really help with capping. It does give funds, but it doesn't. It just gives you unit count, but not immediate funds.
the it will give you funds. It will give you the same funds as this city, which is the parallel of yours, but it will give you one infantry extra. And this
Yeah,
you
but
will see that I will have this pipe broken very early in the game, so I keep
yeah,
streaming tanks.
sure. Hmm. Hmm. For
Okay.
sure. For sure.
So, it's actually great that this is a fresh game and you're both here. You wanna maybe give us your insight, like what were you thinking when you made that move? Because when you say, "Hey, I went for this base," or "I decided to attack this particular unit," it is oftentimes when I look at these streams, I'm like, "Well, why are you doing that?" And sometimes people can't really say; they can only guess. So if you guys can give some insight or your thinking process, like, "Oh, I went here because I couldn't go there," I'm like, "Okay, well, you know what? That makes complete sense."
That's a really interesting question. To be fair, uh, what was in your
So
mind?
this turn, yeah, this turn, I noticed that the HQ, the the Allied HQ is actually on the weak side, and I've been looking at this map wrong the whole time. So I panic build a mech to cap the city, and then I'll try to scuttle this mech down, but then it'll end up going into the middle. It was a little messy.
I mean, the mech here, to be honest, is not that bad because you can use it to cap the base. Not, I mean, you would have needed to cap it in the first as soon as possible, but you haven't done. So now you can use the mech to 1-2, cap
Yeah.
it, and then use it to break the pipe, whichever you want. And with the help of an artillery, you can do it in 2 turns. So it's not that terrible.
Well, mechs only do
How much is that?
like 13% damage to pipe, so you know, let's say 15%.
Yeah.
So you want to have an Audi shoot it once, and then a mech and an Audi shoot it twice. I have to admit, and I'm just giving my own opinion here. I rarely build mechs. Like almost, I think it's mechs, recons, and APCs are my least built units. In this map, my first thing is getting an Audi next to my, like getting an Audi to my defense side or my weak side. First thing, like as soon as I have enough funding, is just get an Audi down there and some tanks to reinforce while I'm getting, you know, as many properties on my strong side. You know, again, this is just my opinion.
I
You
did the
guys
same.
feel free to give us your own.
I did the same as you, King. So it's not like it's a crazy suggestion. So yeah, I start to cap in my base, and I try to move wheel infantry, and you start capping. Okay. So you are going for this city with the mech? Yeah, probably. Okay. I'm starting. I don't want to be mean, but I am starting to get allergy by seeing not you capping this base. I'm suffering, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we are even on the income at the moment. I mean, it's not nothing too much to cap, but I think we are gonna see a big difference because of the base.
In unit count.
Yes.
Yeah, the unit count is going to. Yeah, and yeah. We'll come back to the subject of arties. We have more stuff coming up.
Oh, just one thing, guys. I'm gonna, Senate, you're recording this for YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just saying that I'm posting, trying to invite more people over to the chat from the Discord. So
Sure.
I'm gonna post just a quick post on the general chat.
I'm fine with it, man. It will be more interesting, to be honest.
Yeah, I completely agree. But yes, continue.
So yeah, in my next turn, I think. Look, yeah, the art you were talking about, I just did it, and turn 4.
Exactly.
Cynic,
No, as
is
a
there
casual
like
player,
is there one pipe seam you prefer over the other on this map?
Yeah, I prefer breaking this one instead of
Strong
this
side, yeah.
because
See, we'll see weak side seam from mine. I know.
yeah,
We'll see. We'll see.
you break this one, I believe.
but we have a pro on hand. Yo, Dredge,
What?
Oh,
are you gonna get off the sidelines and give some advice, man?
Shit, I don't know. I don't know dick, dude. I'm bad at this game. That's why I'm listening.
What?
Love your avatar.
I mean,
man. This
are
animated
you
avatar is
kidding me,
so.
man?
Anyway,
I think I should if I expected too many people to come, well, 4, I should have pointed out like green light and the users. I will do that next time because now the only thing I can see in the recording is my camera and the minimap.
Well, just so you guys know, I'm having a current league game on Delphinus, and on that map, it is crucial you burst the pipe, you know, at least as early as you can, but in this particular map, it's not a big priority. Like your forces can still get from from your three base side to your main forces in time. One thing I've done in this map, and I just remembered, is build a topter just to get infantry to all the right properties. That's actually something. And I noticed well, Brown Desert is going for the airport with Green Earth, getting it in 2 turns as well. But I noticed none of you have done that. Well, walk us through your train of thought.
I didn't want to rush the T-copter because 5K it was like a big investment. It was like a tank, and I didn't want to fall behind in the count amount, the tank amount. So I want to be aggressive, but with my tanks at the early game. I don't
Well,
know.
now that I think about it, you're both playing Drake.
Yes.
If this was maybe, I don't know, Kindle versus Drake, maybe getting a Bopter out there would be important. But I see that Drake is like, nah, man, forget the air.
Actually, we
Well,
have.
we'll see some bopters.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn 4 is usually a good time for recons, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
not
like
that
either
bad.
you get on, if you don't get on turn 4, then turn 5 is your best bet. Well, if you get on turn 5, you can just get a tank.
Yeah.
Because then you'll be counteracting the early recon, which most people usually go for.
And I'm gonna give you 3 seconds after I finish talking so you can cut out this clip. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, thank you, King. Yeah, so we are talking about the base is a tragedy. Let's not be too harsh on you. Scarabix? How do you pronounce that?
Kind.
Scarabix? Like Scarabajo?
Yeah, yeah, Scarabix, whatever. It's a
Okay.
bullshit name. Just
Okay.
don't mind.
How did you came up with that name? Just to be curious.
I don't know. It was for some RuneScape thing, and I wanted to get the Scarab, but it was already taken. So I added the a little X of a gold, which makes it like a gold name from Asterix.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I was like 10, man. Don't judge.
so it's a really old nickname. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's a RuneScape username.
Okay, so now I go for the com tower. I was thinking, okay, I have to prioritize the bases because I won the fans early game, but also this com tower is cap chains with this city, so it's pointless to rush this city and then cap the com tower because I will just get the city 1 turn earlier. So I thought that this was fine.
Well, if I may say, I never go for a com tower unless I'm gonna have an engagement in the next 2 turns or so. So if you use what I like to call the mirror theory, you are not likely to attack Brown Desert in the next 2 turns. So I would have gone for the city because if you're not going to attack Brown Desert, then income prioritizes over attack power. But like you said, you
but
can
then
go for the top power and then just stop capping and go for the city. So
but then he's got is
that's a fake.
yeah the commitment, the level of commitment though. If you go for the city, is like if you go for the city first, you know you're not getting the com tower in the next 4 turns unless this infantry goes for it, and then you're just displacing the com tower problem to the next city that you'd rather be capping than capping the com tower. I don't know. It's a bit of a conundrum. No,
But
the only move is not to play.
in retrospective, I think it was a good move. It was not a good move because the logic behind was bad, but it paid me well because this recon would have stopped the com tower if I was going for this first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, a good gamble.
yeah,
I don't.
exactly.
I mean,
good gamble.
in fog, I think it's okay to kind of be careful with your tower.
I mean,
I've seen matches sometimes where like people have had their towers denied the entire game because they prioritized the cities over it, and I've seen it spiral out of control pretty bad for them.
Especially since those are decently contested. Like, and I mess with this type of map. Like, I really like how close the comp towers are here on this map.
Yeah, can I say something?
It's
yeah, the
no,
seven,
you
Also-
got like
seven
6
tiles,
tiles between them.
seven.
7 tiles. That's okay. Not super close, but very close.
Almost one turn.
Also, I think for this specific, for you getting Tom Tower would have been better, especially this turn, because you could get it from the city that you had just capped, but if you waited, it would have been a turn extra for you to get to the next city. So
You
I
mean
felt,
Solus?
yeah, so like the counter he's good for, I feel like that would have been better because it took an extra turn just to get close to the city, and then for it.
I
So
was
even if-
planning to go upwards then, because I
I
feel
mean-
like this is my city and this is his city, right?
I mean, technically, but it's like if he sent the recon from up top to there, you wouldn't have got neither of them unless you had a tank of yourself. So it's like it's like because like I'm like me, I normally play grit, and it's like sometimes I go too far, even though I'm supposed to play slower. But I normally try to be super aggressive and try to get cities, and it's like I lose the city when I thought that hey, this is on my side, but he was able to stop it and take my cap because he skipped cities. So it's not always going to be like this is mine's and this is yours. They're gonna progress
Yeah.
sometimes a little bit quicker, so they'll be 2 turns farther than they should be, and they have the infantries that are way back. They'd be even a little bit later.
Well, you know what the funny thing is that sometimes I must admit this has been against newer players. They just rush me in my, they try to contest the cities really early on with recons, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead, do that. I'm just gonna continue building tanks and all kinds of whatnot on the other side. So it's almost like, yeah, you can go ahead and try to interrupt the caps on my side. I'm gonna get those eventually. Meantime, you're gonna lose that recon, and I'm gonna cap that city later on. It just really, in general, has not ended well for the other player. Again, I could be wrong, but please, I want to hear other viewpoints.
Also, what a lot of people do that I've noticed that I lose a lot of matches of is that the more tanks you have over your opponent, usually the better. But it really depends on how you use your infantries. Like infantries, you can either use them for capping or you can use them to like block.
Yes, absolutely.
'Cause
Infantry are like the blood of this game.
Because like I know a lot of people they just get straight up tanks, and it was like there was this one match to when I still lost it, but it was like there was this one match that I had got into, and it was like the dude was like, this is kind of annoying because I had so many infantries that it took him a while to get to it. My artillery was ready to get hits off of. So he wasn't able to close the game as quickly as he wanted to. It took like an extra like 12 turns for him to actually finally be able to break through it. But yeah, the more tanks you have, usually the better advantage you have, especially if you're on like properties like forest tiles or like cities. Like it's so beneficial.
Unless
to have
it's
them there.
a choky map
Yeah, this-
like Scorpion. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, you have 3 tanks. If the
If
other
you have
one...
3 tanks and they have 2 tanks and maybe an artillery, you're most likely gonna be in a decent situation. But if they weaken your tanks too much with the 3 tanks, then that artillery isn't going to get much because you still have, very healthy tanks. So
Well, I know I asked this question a couple of times, so I'm just gonna ask it now on stream. What is your play style? Because I always said move planner, and I have just been getting more and more accustomed to it. It taught me a lot, but I always like to plan the moves from my opponent's side to see if my side will be beneficial. And this is mostly pertaining to standard, but it's just funny because if they, okay, well, if I do this, what am I likely to do from my opponent's side, right? And it just shows me like, okay, don't do that, because if you do this, I will likely retaliate it with this action.
So
And
I'm sorry to interrupt. So usually, if you want to have an idea of where your opponent's going to be, check the amount. Like if you keep it like a very good like bookmark on where the infantries will be at, because usually when people cap, they normally want to cap as many spots as they can. So if they're going to be super aggressive, and have a bunch of infantries, if they have too many infantry, they most likely have tanks that are there to intercept any recons to stop caps. So it's like you have to plan out because you already know recon is usually going to be on turn 4, if not turn 5. But smarter players, they have it on turn 4. So it's kind of like you would want to keep a bookmark to where you think the infantries will be at because you know they're going to be
Yeah.
capping. So you should know which caps that will be.
We'll see more on the history of these recons, but yeah, this is a recon to the weak side. It's very much for like like in Fog of War, it's obviously for intel, but this is a defensive recon, and it's not going to go quite as planned. I'm going to get information, but roll a footage.
Also, what do you think about a recon that is interrupting a contested cap in your strong side and in their weak side? Because that's not a property that they are gonna get eventually. That's a property that they are not gonna get. You know?
They're eventually going to lose.
Yeah. So you are denying all these turns that they could have the property. So even the recon, if dies, it's gonna be paid itself back. So
Well, here's my thought on recons. Recons are more of a disruptive unit as opposed to an attack unit. You're basically delaying your opponent's income for another 2 turns as opposed to actively trying to take out their infantry unless you're into the late game. Because I have been on some games where my opponent attacked my capping infantry, and when I capped it on the next turn, I had to pay what? Like it's 1,400 for 2 HP on a. No wait, no, it's 1,000, so that's 200. But that 200 stops me from building a tank next turn. So that's what you're trying to do with a recon. You're trying to basically make your opponent pay as much for the repairs on the next turn. I think the way I've learned it lately, Advanced War is more of a funds management game as opposed to a unit building game, because if you can stop your opponent from building units, that is powerful. That's why Sasha is so good, because she doesn't care. She gets 100 per city. She can build and repair whatever she wants. It's not gonna stop her aggression. She's gonna build tanks or whatever she needs to.
that's a move I tried against Profeta in the map Triple A. We played. Like he had like a lot of artillery, a lot of anti-air, more tanks than me, but I was slightly just behind. And I was like, okay, if I save up for a stealth, he has no counterplay, but a fighter. So what can I do? He earns like 21,000 per day. So I can attack this medium tank in a city, and then he won't have enough funds. But you know, do you know what he did? He just saved like 10,000 for me not being able to deny that fighter will. And I was like, how do you know that? And he was telling me it was the only counterplay to my position. And I was like, okay, man, fuck you. I was so frustrated.
Yeah, the thing that makes recon different in fog is like you talk about the disruptive power of recon, and in fog, especially with these shoals, some roads or some properties, you're gonna have a recon that can go farther than it can see, and so it's not as disruptive as in standard, as you can disrupt from 8 tiles away on a good day. In fog, you'll never disrupt from more than a 5 tile away, unless you've already got infantry on the spot or another unit that will be pre-deployed on the spot.
6 if you are
Well,
Sonya.
I'll be honest. Like, if I have a recon molesting my infantry, like I've gone, I think it was Hawk versus Sturm, and I know this is Sturm, so he's got less firepower, but I just ignored it. I kept doing my thing, because if you have a recon trying to stop 3 caps, you have to prioritize. So the other 2 are gonna cap regardless. So
Yes.
in those situations, I just ignore the recon, build my tank, and just keep capping as normal because eventually I am gonna get it. You can't stop me. You're
Exactly.
just delaying my income for a while.
Okay, let's keep
Hey,
on
can
with
I
the
say something real
match.
quick?
Yeah,
So how come Cynic, how come you didn't try to get the airport?
before the base. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about like because like you got all these extra infantries that are already out and it's like turn 6. How come you haven't like gotten the airport a little bit sooner for early transport?
For me,
Yeah.
uh, I have already explained it's because I didn't want to spend that 5K into a transport that it would have put
No, I'm
me.
talking about like why didn't you try to like capture it? Because it still gives you money if I remember correctly, like 1,000. So it's
I
like
was worried about not getting these two properties before he was coming.
Yeah.
I was
See,
worried
yeah,
about that.
yeah,
yeah,
but it's
he's not capping the airport is much less egregious than not capping the base. And it's already starting to show at this point, like 12 unit count versus 15 unit counts. I'm already falling behind. This is yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a really good idea to cap early this and build a
because like
transporter.
even if you don't get the copter early, it's still an extra 1,000. Like let's say if you got it, on turn 3, this would give you an extra 3,000 like funds for more stuff.
Yeah, but
Well, you know what? Let's continue the game. Let's let them talk it out,
Yeah,
and I will interject along the lines. But I'm really interested again in seeing your play-by-play as opposed to what I think. I want to hear about you guys. So please continue.
do you remember uh, Gaspin? Because this recon.
So
Yeah, tell me.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get an eyeful with this recon. I'm going to get a lot of intel, and I'm going to disregard all of it over the following turns. It's going to get trapped. Yeah, maybe I didn't look at the replay properly. We'll see.
Yeah, I misplayed a couple of times because of not looking at the replay because of lazy. I got myself trapped a couple of times too. So yeah, I want to rush your weak side and try to keep these two, and that's it in my weak side. So here, you were trying to be strong in your strong side, or what was your goal at this moment in the match, Scara?
Mm, Okay, so I was expecting a lot of pressure on my weak side, and I think what we're going to be seeing very soon is that I'm going to be reinforcing the weak side perhaps too much, not enough commitment on this strong side coming up, and overall, yeah, I'm going to be stalling this infantry. I'm going to be just clearing just your HQ area, and we'll see that I'm going to have a little trouble getting there.
Okay. So now here I move my tank just away of your, because I could have moved my tank, look here,
Mm,
but I didn't want to because you could see it.
yeah,
So
I got the
I move it
yeah.
here, and it was already in range of protecting all my infantry, but this one. So I was confident with it, and I think I
Mm,
didn't move this forward because I was afraid you could hit the free dude. So I think I moved this backwards or stayed with it or something. I don't remember. Okay, here. So yeah, you can attack my infantry right now, and yeah, keep advancing on the strong side and a recon to the top.
Cynic is basically saying, "Come at me, bro."
Yes. Like this infantry 3 HP, I should have moved here so you can interrupt the cap. Like
mm,
these
mm.
caps, and no,
Yeah, because you couldn't get the
yeah,
surround play. Yeah,
because
I was expecting a surround play. Like I was in full paranoia. Like, oh my, this is over.
this
This
is
recon is dead.
this is one of the instances that I should have used the move planner, because I could have realized that I could have put my 3 HP here so you can deny me the cap. Even,
Mm,
I mean, If you do,
That's actually interesting. I didn't know that broken pipes are like -1 movement for recons.
it's
I mean,
like
I'm looking at
planes.
the plane.
It's a plane.
It's a
Yeah, it's
plane.
plain and simple.
That plane. Okay, I thought it was kind of like a road all this time, but you know what? We live and learn.
But I believe it's not a plane for the Jake day-to-day bonuses.
I heard so. I heard it is actually a plane.
Yes.
Yeah,
Whatever.
same for me.
Jake's not in
I
this
heard
game.
it was.
Uh, one
Yeah.
second. Uh, Maybe it is because there is no such tile here.
Yeah, it's a plane. It's a plane.
Okay, okay, it's a plane.
Jake.
Fake news. I have informed on.
Maybe in older versions, Broken Pipe seems used to give global vision on it. So yeah, like the game, the jank has been fixed,
Okay. So now you have like two tanks and the same as me, but I have two artillery. Look at
and
the
you have 16 units to my 21 units to my 16,
oof,
and I'm going to yeah.
oof. And keep in mind that you start with one more unit than me because of the extra infantry because of second player. It's like
Oh yeah,
it's a lot.
well yeah.
That's what kind of makes it kind of fair.
So yeah, this archer build I just intend to protect my weak side with it, and then something else ends up coming along, and I kind of get sidetracked. But yeah, yeah,
To
this
be
is for
to
the
be
weak
honest,
side.
these two properties I never cap them in this map. I'm so afraid to get beaten up. But for example, now I should I could have cap it with no problems. Look,
Yeah,
it
but it's
Mm,
like if you think about it, even though like I've been in that situation too. Like sometimes if you're either a little too slow, and two, you never know which one they'll go for because they could go for yours and they go for theirs later. Like I've been like, in that situation a couple times to where they had their main forces on my tile that I should have gotten, but they had like two infantries, a recon, and a tank that was like maybe 2 turns away. So it's like yeah, it's like shoulda, woulda, coulda, but it's like you never actually know until you have visible proof. You know?
so here I will
yeah,
an anti-air because I was afraid of sneaky, unpredictable copters from Drake in my strong side. I could have stopped my push completely, and I said, yeah, I can go with
mm,
an anti-air, and even though you don't
mm,
build
mm, mm.
any copters, it can one-shot infantry, it can hit turrets, it can hit recons. Like it's not gonna be useless, and it can
Yeah,
deal decent damage to tanks also. Not gonna
and
want.
yeah, you've got planes. You've got yeah, you obviously like on this outside the shuttles. I would say the mobility of the recon doesn't really enable them to go shoot at infantry, whereas got your AA on treads. That's a good one with all these forests. You gotta move around. Plus, the B copter is coming very soon.
Yeah, I think you will one this term. Thinking about the timing, I don't know.
Yeah, I believe in the mirror theory. If you capped your airport, chances are they capped theirs. So, let's say for the sake of example, you played optimally and you capped the airport, then you can expect your opponent, if
Yeah,
he's player one, that he did the same thing.
If you can
So
do
you
it,
can sort of count how many turns it's gonna take from his bopter to get to you and plan accordingly.
mm,
totally. I mean, I was planning to do a sneaky copter in my weak side, so if I planning to do that, I have to expect to be faced against with that too. So it's mirror theory.
Cynic, can I ask, like, so on your weak front right now, right? Like, it's pretty bare bones. What if your opponent had gone really hard onto your weak front?
I could have bite the dust.
That would have been
If their strong suit is on your weak suit, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose the fight unless you have
So,
like
like,
some
are you just
artillery
planning
play.
to just go for, like, towards his HQ and force the units over there?
I was planning to use Hull as much as possible here, but rush here. And if he goes hard here, I will go harder here and rush the HQ. and
Oh, okay.
But just to make sure we got you on record, you said you were ready to haul ass.
Kids,
Oh
I
yeah,
just built a
one.
helicopter.
Oh yeah, one more thing. I feel like you should have tried to have your weak side to have like more tanks and more battle copters because you don't want an HQ. You don't want to get overpowered and HQ capped. So I feel like your strong shoot should always be where your HQ is, kind of.
mm,
Well, the Bopters really don't have much of a chance on the HQ side. You know, it's gonna take them like what 4 days to get there. So, but definitely he wants to have at least one Audi on that side and a couple of tanks just to
3 days,
guarantee his cap.
three
Yeah,
days,
that's
four,
what, that's
yeah.
what I was saying. Just to guarantee to be able to, last a couple turns for extra, reinforcement. That's pretty much what I was saying.
More recons. Oh man. I mean, I love to see it. What can I say?
Show the name of the game for YouTube.
I mean, the name of the game I don't know, but the name of the channel is Recon Good Yes. So
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm expecting to learn a lot of recons from you because they're like one of my three less built units, you know, next to mechs and APCs. So I really want to see what you do with them and know what I've been missing.
Yeah, no, this isn't the game you'll be learning. I have a lot to say about weekends and a lot to show about weekends. This is not the map. This is not the game. The recon strat is not going to play out in this game, I'm afraid.
so even though you have
Gotcha.
willed the you have captured the base so late, you are not that behind in unit count, but it's still I think it's concerning that you are already behind.
Yeah, yeah. As I said, I was really trying to build up the unit value so as to get as early a tsunami as I could. Yeah, not taking the base mm, doesn't. That wasn't the play.
I think so. So yeah, I was I think I was yeah taking
Mhm.
recons really confidently. Like my tank now is immune to anything coming unless you have 2 units that I was doubting that you would have 2 units in range of this forest, but you do. Here the recon,
Mm.
and I have no contest to this tank, so it could have been a fatal stroke to me. And this play here is like what I'm doing. I don't think it was a good idea. I was playing too cocky, maybe.
Yeah, but you got to put yourself in my mindset. I'm in fog. We're in fog, and I see a very small cohort of enemies near your HQ, but I'm suspecting that there's much more and that your HQ is actually well defended, which it isn't. It's not.
Yeah, I was thinking it all your units were around here, and it was like, come on, oh, okay, this it is a tank here.
Mm.
I just destroy a recon here. What the? I'm gonna push here because I didn't.
Then I see the two artillery, right? And this is where my brain should get set into motion, and I should have a strong reaction and try to really get at these artilleries. But you'll see that I'm going to let them get away with a lot during the following turns.
I should have been a little more sneaky with them, at least with one of them, because if you see one
Well,
artillery, it's fine, but if you see two, like
yeah, but how sneaky can you be though? Because I'm on two recon. The current recon is in the forest,
okay, look, I
and you
could
do
have moved this
and yeah,
artillery here, and the other
yeah,
here, and keep
well,
moving
yeah,
like from forest to forest, and from this forest to this forest, and from this forest to, like I could
yeah.
have done that.
I see your two RT, and this is when I
Yeah,
start to freak out big time. Like I'm not ready for two RT and two tanks to be here already.
Yeah, I mean, if you attack one Audi, the the other one is gonna get you, and a tank or an infantry can finish you off pretty much.
He has the recon. If he lost the recon, the only thing he has is a mech a tank and an infantry.
Yeah,
Which
I only thing I have left is the infantry on top of the mountain, and even that is vision. I can't move around. I
yeah,
can't. I'm not a master of my
Well,
vision, so
I think Scarabix is the right play. I just wouldn't recommend going so far away.
yeah,
I
I felt like
mean,
you should have went to like the
uh,
forest, but then again, it's like there's only so
mm,
many other places you can hide, especially if they have tanks and artillery already in the area. I feel like you already kind of lost where your HQ is.
I would have probably gone to the city just because you can still retain vision. But I guess he doesn't really have a counterattack
Yeah, he doesn't
to
have
make.
anything. Yeah, he has nothing here, so it's smart to go as far as you can because you don't have anything to combat what's coming. So it was a really smart play.
So you keep the Bopter here that was unpredictable from Drake, minus 20%. And here I'm just okay. So I know you have units here, so I'm just gonna set up with my artillery and reinforce it. And then when I have enough units, I will push into your HQ. But maybe I should have pushed a little harder because you are not even with the properties capped. So I
yeah.
could have stopped them from happening. And yeah, I
Oh
think
yes, oh yes. I'm sorry to interrupt. Scarabit, how come you got the mechs?
Tell you what, I got the mechs because I was actually super scared of vehicles coming into my HQ, vehicles. So the first mech I used during my capture phase just to, because it was just as good as the regular infantry at the time I built it. The second one that came in for the wick side, I deliberately created with the intention to fight back against tank. I was expecting tanks to contest my properties, my caps, and so I thought mech mech is the low, but it's not going to play out very well.
The only thing I was saying the mechs is I feel like the mechs. Yeah, I understand they can cap, but it's like I feel like you should get the mechs whenever you get like a transport copter to where like it's like yeah you're using like nine
Yeah.
3,000 plus. So you're using like 8,000 value, but it's like if that mech is where your infantries are, like near the capping area, then yeah, I feel like the mech would be nice to have to capture, especially if it can counter the recon. But it's like if you can't kill, like if you killed the recon, there's no real reason for the mech. Because if a tank hits it, yeah, the tank takes a little bit of damage, but it's like that tank can come right back and then the infantry can kill it.
Yeah, and this is not like this is not a great mech map, but by the looks of it. But I'm open to suggestions.
If it had more mountains and like more forests, then yeah, I feel like the mechs would have been like the best scenario for it, mainly because the mechs. I
Hmm.
feel like the mechs don't really get the nerf of the forest tile. I think they can just walk through the forest or like go through mountains way better. So yeah, mechs. I feel like mechs are way better if there's more mountains. If
totally.
there's like barely any mountains at all, then I don't think they're going to be that much value for you or for being your buck unless you have a transport that's transporting your mechs.
mechs are mostly useful as a counter. Like they say, you're capping a city and you have a mech behind your infantry, and a tank decides to attack, and it's like, well, yeah, you're gonna get attacked right after it. In this map, there's really not a lot of room for mechs to position themselves, at least by themselves behind a city or behind a unit to counter. I'm just saying that in this case, mechs, at least to me, feel a bit unfavorable unless they're close to your HQ or are close to your strong side to counter city caps. Mostly I see mechs in other places, but in this particular map, they just don't seem very strong to me because both fronts are just really far away from where the mechs can be effective. Again, I'm okay with being proved wrong. You tell me.
No, I was saying the same thing too. That's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like the only way that the mechs really could have been way better is you got the transport just for the extra.
Yeah,
for the
With
extra movement because the mechs like yeah, I understand you're saying that the mechs are like infantries, but it's like every single time the mech moves at maximum movements, every single turn is losing one extra
Yeah.
movement if you want to count them as an infantry. So that's why infantry usually that get there on time. Mechs they might still be 2 to 6 turns late depending on how far
Yeah.
they're moving.
And don't forget the 3k cost that might prevent you in
Yeah,
early game to wheel a tank or something.
because like if your infantry, like if an infantry hits your mech, you lost more value in that engagement.
Yeah, and you're going to see these mechs not pay for themselves. Like
Yeah, because
maybe
like
I get one good shot, but
if they get one good shot, then hey, on this map, if they get one good shot on a tank, then kudos for you. But they're never going to hit an artillery. Like,
yeah, and
like an
especially
infantry has a chance.
with how many turns they spent being just an infantry with one less move. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with this.
Okay,
Yeah, this
I
map specifically is not good for them.
now here I get the artillery for my weak side, and I get a copter that I use in my weak side too also, because I was expecting an anti-air maybe in your weak side to counter some aggression, but I was not expecting one here in your strong side, and since it's the size where I have less troops, so it's less likely for me to have a copter there, so it's less likely for that was my thought process. But I don't know, mind games are a way are presence in this kind of games.
It's a good call
Well,
too.
well, if I may say, in this case, Green Earth is just a bit better prepared because you have an anti-air on your strong side and a Bopter that could potentially reinforce your weak side if required. It just seems like a bit more balance of a unit composition, as opposed to Brown Desert.
Okay, so now you are cheating here in this cup, and you didn't see how I moved the artillery, right? No,
I
I
don't think I did.
so if you have put the recon here, for example, I think you would have seen them. Yeah, you would have. So maybe putting the recon here was a mistake instead of putting, for example, in this forest or maybe here.
See, but this property though, this property, I felt like it needed to be interrupted. Of course, I hadn't seen the artillery yet, but I knew that it was going to be able to be reinforced from here. The city got capped, which I saw as a game ending, but being so close to the HQ, you will end up getting that city.
Yeah, this one, yeah, not
Oh
this
yeah.
one.
So one more thing I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I had noticed that this recon sees so many potential threats for your HQ, and I freaking love how you have like your artillery coming on the way. But the only issue with it is they're gonna kill this, the same
Yeah,
turn, and by the time you get the real vision you need, you're gonna notice that there is so much more of a threat here that I would have just gave up at that point. But that's just me.
yeah. Medium temp coming in, by the way.
Yeah, the big boy. But actually, there was a lot of big boys down here, so
Mm, mm.
it was.
And it's the thing though, look at my strong side. It's so barren. Like I'm running a
One,
skeleton
two,
crew down.
5 infantry injured,
Where's
and
my army? It's
I
just turn 11, and where's my army already?
mean in value we are the same at the moment, practically.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in unit count and in unit position, there is a big difference, I think. I mean, you are higher on income. Come on, don't be that hard on
Mm,
yourself.
mm.
Your capture.
No, all I'm saying is it didn't pan out in the end, but maybe I'm getting ahead of the replay here.
So one thing, if you don't mind me saying, one thing about it is, yeah, if you have a value lead, it's a good thing. But if you can't stop what's going on, your value is going to go lower and theirs is going to go up. especially if they're already winning their present and you haven't been killing anything, but they've been killing you, then your value is going to drop tremendously because of the presence that he has here already. Like you don't like I'm pretty sure you know he has tanks here, but you don't know how many he has. Like right now, I understand that you have like, your mechs or whatever. I don't they might have got one good shot, like one, decent shot that got you a little bit of value, but it's like when you can steamroll, even if you guys are close to each other, if you can steamroll the other opponent, they can't combat it. So so that's where value kind of loses it.
For me, it's not really so much how much income you have or your unit value is your unit composition. And here's where I feel like I need more practice, and I'm gonna just speak for myself. But it's always what do you build? I mean, this is fog, but let's pretend it was standard. What do you build in response? Because lots of times, if I were to say, hey, this match did not go well, it was because I built a tank instead of an Audi, or I built a tank instead of an anti-air in this particular position. That is what really wins or loses games. How are you going to prepare, or what is your plan for breaking your opponent's wall? And I'm saying wall in the general sense, but it's just like, what do you have to counter your opponent's strategy? That is the real game winning move. And again, please tell me if I'm wrong.
But if you want to counter your opponent's strategy, you have to know the strategy in the first place.
So, so King made a really good point that I want to talk about. I feel like a lot of people who actually play advanced wars by web, they like to do like fog matches, but it's like I feel like once you mastered standard, because like I said, fog's a whole different game. Once you're so used to like like if you play standard a bunch or whatever, and you're really really good at standard, I feel like you should then go into fog, and put your experiences of how it was in standard, but have precautions because of you can't see certain stuff, but you shouldn't put too much caution. Like if you know that you killed, like let's say in early game, right? Let's say you killed 3 to 4 of their infantries, and you still have like your infantries, but they're injured.
Mm.
I feel like you shouldn't really merge them, and you would want to repair them, but at the same time make sure your weapons like your tanks and your artillery aren't really seen, especially if you're just doing infantry fights. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if they lose 4 infantries early on, that is 4 infantries that they don't have, and that's 4 troops you have on top of them that are either getting repaired or
So, as far as the game, this is, I think this is when I first see the entire. Like previous turn, it got into my vision. Now I see the entire. Now I know that my 18k of battle copters is not applicable to his strong side, and now I have to rush something in to control this strong side. The battle copters are going to get some value afterwards, but they're not able to go in right now when I need them most. And
But don't
see how,
worry, don't you worry, because I did a fatal mistake with my anti-air. You will see.
uh,
Look at this anti-air. Oh, it's attacking infantry.
ooh baby,
No,
ooh baby.
you don't do that with your anti-air.
I
You
I
don't.
will I will be completely honest with you. I would have took that as a flex. Like
Yeah.
they can see it. I feel like that was a whole flex there. Like there's a recon that can see it, and that there's an infantry that's on a mountain that can see it. Like that was a flex.
You
Yeah,
charge.
come and get me.
It's like what are you gonna do about this anti-air? And it's like holy shit, that's a power play right there.
I mean,
Yeah.
if this anti-air was in range of my medium tank, that was another whole story. But it's not. So it's not like it's gonna.
I feel like you kind of jumped the gun a little bit too quickly, but
You kind of
still.
are forcing my. Like, it's a flex, but you're also forcing my infantry off of a mountain, and I only have a 1 HP recon for vision and a 9 HP recon, so I'm spreading myself thin at this point.
Well, just to know that anti-air, you can use them against infantry, but only if it's a game-winning move. Like you can take out the first infantry, that will set out a chain for you to take out, maybe 2 infantry and an Audi and a tank. But if you just say, "Oh, let me attack that infantry,"
Yeah.
you're an 8,000 unit attacking a 1,000 HP unit. That is not, that is just not cost effective. So if you will set off a chain that will cripple your opponent's army, then yeah, go ahead. Anti-air versus infantry for the win. But if not, then you might just want to prepare your infantry a little bit better for that attack.
Anti-air is for zoning out air units, not for killing infantry. That's why they are called anti-air. You are totally right.
That's why I call it
No,
air
when,
traffic control.
Okay.
no, I was gonna say the same thing too. Yeah, anti-airs can take out infantries really well, but it's like they were saying, is really good with air troops. But it's like if it can hit a recon, like if it can kill 2 recons or whatever, it pretty much made its own value. But at the same time, it's also giving you less vision. So it's like you want to use your expensive troops, especially if it's an anti-air or a tank. You want to have it to where your opponent can't see, especially in fall, because the less you can see, the less you can prepare for, and the more predictable you can be. Like getting an extra recon or getting a tank, which can easily be zoned out with either anti-airs or rockets or whatever.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. See, you know what the funny thing? See, in that case, he attacked 1,000 funds only to lose what is like 8 times 7, you know,
56.
of HP.
500,
As
600.
as well as a threat isn't a threat anymore. It's at 3 HP.
5,600,
Right.
yeah.
So yeah,
I think it's 5,800 he lost.
exactly. So that wasn't a worthy trade. But if, like, say, for example, you had a wall and your anti-air killed the infantry that, earned you the amount of the wall, then that would be worth it, right? But in this case, you attacked 1,000 funds to, yeah, and then lost, pretty much, what is it, like 64
I mean,
funds? That wasn't really worth it, at least in my opinion.
Was that a
In
high
my
roll? Did someone check that? Was that a high roll?
okay, let's check. It was no, it was a normal roll.
Okay, cool. It was in the middle of 71 and 80. All right.
Yeah. If you roll the highest, you can put it in 2 HP.
2, yeah. So we don't know if it was really a super high roll or not.
Yeah, we don't know.
Well, it was 5,600,
Yeah.
in funds. So if you attacked 1,000 and lost that, 5,600, that was not a worthy trade. I'm just gonna say.
Nope. So now you withdraw. You put your territory protected. You attack.
So at this point, I know the location of the artillery in the forests, and I'm not going to do anything about it. Yeah, yes, I am. I'm going to put things in its French, obviously, because that's the move, right?
You are gonna use maneuver around it, right? Oh wait. But okay. You know there is one here, but did you know that there was?
Yeah, I don't know about the one below it though.
Okay.
Now.
But I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, because if you think about it, remember you had one artillery that was in range and one wasn't. There was no way he could have known about the second one.
Mm-hmm. But you got to
I feel
suspect.
like maybe with better game sense, but yeah, I'm on like 20 games of AWBW, so
And setting up my weak side because I was expecting like 3,000 tanks here. I was paranoid, but like
I feel like I feel like you should always try to see where their strong side is.
yeah,
So
I
once you
didn't
know where
know.
the strong side is, then you can prepare for it better. Because their weak side is most likely going to have either 2 tanks and a bunch of just infantries. Like they're not usually going to have an artillery there. So usually, if you can have the counter for your tanks, then you're most likely going to be able to just tumble over, and they can't do anything about it. So once you figure out where the strong side is, then you'll be in a good situation.
Yeah,
Wisdom.
in that point,
Wisdom.
Scarabix is in a favorable situation because he knows where my units are, but I don't. I don't know where his strong side right now.
Yeah, and I blew open the weak side seam because I'm hoping to get a maneuver around his army before I see the medium tank and the reinforcements coming in. And I'm going to be short of a recon here. I can't see what's coming in. Like the whole part of the map that's around his com tower, I don't know what's in there. So I want to attack in there, but I don't have vision.
Yeah, vision is power, man.
The black boats, of course, being able to refuel, it's only one unit at a time.
Yeah, I didn't know
I
that.
think I
That's
think it
what I feel.
repairs, but it's like you can like let's say
It
if your
does it
battle.
does refuel.
Oh, it
It
does.
refuels.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
repairs
see
and
it later in the
refuels.
match.
Yeah,
Oh, then yeah, then the APC was pretty used to. I thought it just healed. I didn't know it repairs.
but
I know, right?
it only
But,
refuels one, the one you repair.
Yeah, but I mean that's still pretty good,
Yes.
especially for a battlecopter.
in this particular matchup, sorry, yeah, I'm interrupting.
No, no, don't
No, it's
worry.
good. No, it's good. You can go ahead and speak. You can go ahead and speak. I
No, no,
accidentally
I
started
was
doing
just
it.
gonna say in this particular matchup because it's Drake, then you may need an APC. I mean, if it was I don't know, um, Rachel versus Max or Max versus Andy, who cares about an APC? You only in this matchup will you say, you know what, an APC would actually be worth it, just because of the matchup.
Yeah,
Otherwise, just keep cranking
Also,
out tanks.
also too, I'm sorry. Also too, the APC, it refuels and gives ammo to anybody that's that it's in there. So it's like it's kind of nice, but at the same time, you still want to have troops still funneling like decently expensive troops. I feel like this is my opinion, but I feel like you should got the MD tank to go up, and technically it would have had more value up here, knowing that if you had tanks here, their tanks aren't going to want to hit it because it's going to hurt. They're going to lose value off of it. But at the same time, your strong suit is already so strong. I feel like the second MD tank wasn't needed there. I feel like it could have been, going to the top.
the problem is I don't know if it is needed or not. So I was like,
The, the reason I was saying that is because you like look what you have here. Like you killed probably like 6 troops or whatever on this bottom right area. You have an anti-air here. You have how many infantry? Like three. You have 6 infantries here. You have an MD tank. You have 2 artilleries. You have 2 tanks that are in the area that, if need be, they can take a really good chunk out of any tanks. It'll take a big chunk out of any artilleries that are in the area. So it's like you pretty much own the bottom right, and there's nothing he can really do unless he spends most of
everything.
his money on troops. Like if you have this much of a presence, you pretty much got this area unless they have a bunch of artilleries or like something that's ranged and their infantry are able to barely protect
A rocket
because
here.
you have such a presence. 'Cause, like that
Yeah.
one battlecopter can't stop everything, or like these tanks,
Yeah.
it'll take them 2 extra turns, and it's like your artillery are ready, or at least one artillery will be ready, plus the other tanks you have would just be there.
I'm just saying, what were you thinking at this time that made you not build certain units?
Not building certain units. Did you say that right?
What building have I been skipping here?
Anti-air, for example.
Yeah, entire CC. Entire I'm not very worried about because I'm at this point I'm still confident in my ability to win dogfight. Just not really expecting the copter to come out on your weak side at this point. and I'm actually not expecting any copter. I see that I've managed to put your entire down to 3, and at this point in my head, it's like uh, I have free reign on the airs in the bottom, so I'm going to commit all my 2 battle copters to fight in the bottom, and we'll see what's what.
I mean, in the worst of the cases, in your situation, if there is a copter coming, you can just use your own copters to finish it off, right?
Yeah, but you need to get the jump on it.
If you get the first,
First strike, I mean.
yeah, you will
Yeah,
destroy
you
it.
need the first strike for that. And you need intel.
And also the APC wheel, I was thinking, okay, now he noticed that I'm going for his weak side and HQ rush. This may be a long game, so I'm building this early APC early,
Mm.
so this will
And
get
yeah,
job done, right? Pooping infantry and refueling everything, but at the end I use it for something else. So
and yeah, one thing that shocked me while playing, you can just keep going with the replay. One thing that shocked me very early on in the match and that we've discussed over chat was the lack of mountains on this map, especially on the strong side. You can't really get visions out of these attacking infantries. Like you got to bring your own vision in the form of perhaps a recon, most likely some tanks. And yeah, this my strong side is not moving ahead. Even as I'm getting tanks covering up one another, I'm too afraid to move up because there's no mountains to get vision from.
I mean, to be honest, you are not in that bad spot right now because my anti-air just kill itself. I just use it
Yeah,
stupidly.
but my tank is out of position though. Like, look at
It's,
my artillery and look at my tank.
I
I've
mean,
moved that, and yeah,
yeah, but still, this tank is on a city of your own. It's not gonna get shut down easily because there is only
right.
one tile that I can engage it from. So even though if I bring my medium tank, that I think I did eventually, it will not kill it in one turn. So it's
Alright,
not
I'm
the.
sorry.
Mm.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I feel like you like this is a 4 HP infantry. I feel like if you could have gotten this like even if it's going to die next turn, I feel like if you could got the infantry and put it on this mountain to see what is in the area, especially since you can't see the artillery or whatever. I feel like it would have been a pretty decent it would have been a pretty worthwhile infantry.
This one.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
would have had
because
to kill it
it would
right
have
away.
yeah, because he would be forced to kill it. Like he had to use
Yeah,
one troop, and
exactly.
since you just killed
It wouldn't give any good vision, but I would have to kill it. Otherwise, the vision is too much of a threat. Like he's
because
getting too much
like
in.
right now you would know if he had any tanks or anything within that specific area. You would have had
Mm.
vision of the tank. You would have had vision of the artillery that you can't see right now.
I was worried
And
about the copter. Look here.
Yeah.
Here's the question I really want to ask to Scarabix. Let's pause for a second and look at the opposite side.
Uh, which
Scarabix, I just want to get your perspective, right? Like, why did you not think of medium tanks, or why did you think that medium tanks were not necessary on your strong side? Were you just so focused on your defense, or were you like, you know what, um, I got this side covered. Let me focus over here. I really just want to get your train of thought.
So the way I see it, my strong side, I'm taking the gamble to just protect the information as much as possible. I can see that my adversary is being cautious about their weak side, but I'm I'm taking the gamble that whatever he's got on his weak side probably defeats what I've got, and I'm trying to bait as much value out of his weak side as I can. Uh, and it's yeah, I guess you have to chalk it up to being new to this map, but maybe at this point there's a couple more moves that I can make, perhaps on his infantry, perhaps on his, and I'm going to be moving up to his port very, very shortly, and Not a very good move on my part. You'll see about. That's right. The medium tank is going to the weak side because it's a bit of of a late reaction to your medium tank here going to the weak side, and I'm afraid that um, the perhaps the thought process here is that maybe I've missed one entire and that if something happens to my battle copter, I'll be out of threats to deal with the medium tank. So I'm fully expecting my battle copters to go out to be taken out, and in this case, if it does happen, I have nothing to deal with the medium tank.
Well, how do you guys feel about the general thought process of if my opponent has two bases and he has like 18,000, he's gonna build a medium tank and an infantry. That's like guaranteed. Once I see that, I'm like, okay, well, I need to build an Audi or I need to build a medium tank to counter. It's just like almost an how should I say? It's like a rule that cannot be bypassed. If my opponent has enough money to build a medium tank in fog and an infantry on a two base map, he will.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, first
that
of
was
all, sorry, Solis, you want to go ahead and do this?
I was gonna say,
Uh,
especially in fog, if you can get a medium tank, yeah, it's usually good to get a medium tank. But what I normally do is I'll try to get two, like, so isn't this like a three base map?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
probably would have gotten like two artilleries and an infantry.
mm,
Reason being is it's you can zone a little bit more than normal, but at the same time, I think getting the infantries with the APCs and be able to move them or mechs to be able to just move, threats or potential, good threats. But that's just probably just me. You could
yeah.
go either
So,
way and be tank and into infantries or two artilleries and an infantry. Like, it really depends on what you
so
need.
my medium tank uh, purchase condition is probably the weakest out of everyone here. But yeah, I just watched the Manx video about three tanks in the middle, and maybe there was who cares? You got to guess on this one. And yeah, that's the rule: three tanks in the middle. Of course, we are not really playing the middle here, but three tanks coming in. Threat of three tanks coming in, you should build a medium tank. And I don't know. I guess I waited to see the enemy medium tank to build mine. But anyways, shout out to Stitch Z for catching me slipping with the a early medium tank build. Now I'll be watching out for them for sure, especially if I'm going to be playing against just medium tank. Perch has like yeah.
I mean, I think that role works, but for standard.
I agree.
Yeah.
But for fog, it's like what King said. Like, if I have enough money, I'm gonna buy it. Like, because you won't expect it, right? But in standard, it's another history. But in fog, if I have enough money, I'm gonna do it because you will have likely not a response. You have to, like, how many turns do you take to with a medium tank from to here? Like three, right? One, two, yeah, it's three turns. Like, there is a lot of time for me to do damage with this medium tank, even though the
Especially if I am the one reacting to the tech up,
yeah.
and you're the one who has proactively teched up. So yeah, kudos on that.
So now my strong side is looking a little bit rough, but I'm confident now in my weak side to attack you because I see a lot of units here. So I use my copter with my infantry to kill some stuff. And back up with my artillery. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you could have attacked this. But I didn't know you have a tank here. And I try to push you back and use my superpower. So
Yeah, look, that that value, that value
drop.
decrease. Ugh,
Oof. Well,
yeah.
we will see after the turn. So now he has like
No, but look at look at me, my brand new medium tank. It's not seen any combat use, but it's already chipped, and that's very bad.
23 fuel left. Okay.
Mm.
This like I think
Gone
some
to the
of my
sharks.
units this
Like,
recon end up without fuel at the end. It was
especially against Drake, medium tanks are a little bit less, I don't know, fieldable.
yeah, like how much they have? They have 50 fuel. Like that's not so
Yeah,
much.
And
I think in this
yeah,
scenario,
this
I'd probably build an artillery and a tank instead of a medium tank, and maybe a couple infantry.
so at this point, yeah, my thought process is, oh my God, he's getting so much value out of these uh, of these uh, artilleries in the forests, and yeah, you've got the death ball thing. I did not manage to get over the death ball, so to speak.
Yeah, but I was taking so much damage if you look at the values.
Mm.
So now, yeah, I push you back in your strong side, which is not currently, and you build an
Mm.
anti-air here. I was like, I was really surprised and mind blown that you still had nothing here. Like I was like, really? I could have gotten this if I was more aggro. But in Fog, you always think about this. If I have done that, if I yeah, it's always like
Yeah,
that.
no point in beating yourself up. Like, couldn't have known.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I'm sorry to
yeah,
interrupt, but one thing I can say is if you're killing a lot of his troops and a lot of your troops are just damaged, one good thing to note that if you killed a lot of their troops in a certain spot, there's two different options they can either go with it. If their HQ is there, they have to send troops, so they're not. So they're going to be very thinned out on their weak side. Because if their strong side is on their if their weak side is on their HQ, and you thinned out most of the troops there, they have to do the I forgot what the maneuver is called, but they have to switch their strong suit and try to
mm,
force them as quickly as possible to the HQ. Like it's like if you have this many, like the presence, the amount of troops you have here, you have the MD tank that could make it in a couple turns. Like you have to make sure you have troops that are ready in like 3 to 4 turns. If not, you are risking your HQ to get capped and lose the entire game.
mm.
So, at a rule of thumb, if you're killing a lot of their troops and they're not killing much of your troops, they're most likely going to their weak side is going to be even weaker. If you do that on their strong suit, they're not going to have any presence at all.
I'm going to get the medium tank my medium tank out of position to where it's going to take an artillery shot, and it's going to be very bad. And I'm going to cry. Perhaps the crying is not in the replay, but I'm going to cry. In the bottom of my soul.
Don't cry,
Yeah.
man.
No, I'm going to cry. It's going
Okay.
to be very
Okay.
soothing
Yeah.
and
Quick, guys. One of the things, see, like at this point, you can do as a player is just draw a line, kind of like connect the dots to all your units. And I did that for Green Earth or Cynic. I'm like, starting from the 3 HP infantry at the bottom, it's like kind of once you draw a line through all his units, you you will see that he has like a higher position on the map. Right? That can change next turn, but at that point you can definitely see like, okay, who has more map control, at least in this particular turn. And I guess I want to get back to what Cynic, you know, you guys want to say on Scarabix. Just walk us up, because right now, again, this is where I'm starting to see like Cynics win, but I want to hear what Scarabix like. Oh yeah, no, I thought I could still win because of this particular tactic.
sorry to disappoint. I'm afraid that it's starting to dawn on me at this point. But I'm keeping this up for quite a few days. Problem is, he's going to get his weak side back and he's going to get a significant revenue lead, and one from which I'm not going to. And look, here it is. I'm about to cry because I just parked in artillery range, and I was actually aware that there was an artillery there, but I was so focused on destroying the medium tank that I thought, you know what, I need to take him down one tech so that my tanks don't immediately implode. And where did the artillery go?
I think it's a bug. I think
Wait a
it's,
minute.
Okay.
I was just about to say that too. I was about to say, wait a minute. How did you just do that?
I think it's a bug. It's coming back. Don't worry.
Okay, get it.
Yeah, it's
But
coming.
yeah,
Because
Okay.
of Drake superpower mess up with vision, I think. And yeah, shoot it and shoot it. And I think I use here my power,
Oh, bam.
or
Yep, you get a power off.
yeah. And I use it here because I was seeing my win near, and I was like, maybe this is my
Yeah.
last opportunity to use my power properly. So I use it to make you push me back harder because of the 10% attack and defense, and also the damage and fuel.
That's all right.
And I just retreat back because I see some units, and I was like, my plan, my objective here is not to push you, it's just to hold it, and I'm doing it. So I'm gonna just retreat, and I did it, and I'm
Yeah.
totally fine. And I have to reinforce my strong side because it's not looking that strong right now with the tanks. And here I get vision of the mechs, which I'm surprised to see because there is already one mech I killed here, another mech here, another mech here, like 5 mechs, no 4 mechs, like,
Yeah.
and a fifth
Yeah.
here.
My whole process going into this turn is like, okay, I need tsunami right now. If anything is going to happen in what's left of this game, I need to get tsunami right now, and I need to get to killing at least a couple units. Otherwise, HQ is done and done. So, but yeah, I don't. Sadly, I can't quite build up to a superpower, and that's that's pretty much GG. I'll call GG when I get trapped the next turn. I think. I don't know. I don't. I won't get ahead of myself, but yeah, the unit count is pretty much
Mm,
done for the count.
it's not that bad. I am only winning for 12.
But yeah, but you're winning for almost for like six, five unit counts.
Yeah, the unit count is
If you were, so I'm sorry to interrupt.
no, don't
I'm
worry.
just saying, Scarabix, if you're playing Fog, it's sort of like the same strategy that I'm using to kind of like draw the map control. I'm like, okay, is my map control greater as a percentage? Then I'm usually like, okay, well, it's just I might as well say, yeah, no, I got this, or no, this is just gonna decline from here. And again, right now, I'm just saying that right now he has, Sene has a bit more map control as opposed to yourself. And I'm not saying that cannot turn around, like say for example, if you were using Hawk versus I don't know Sasha, that can change really quickly. I'm just saying that usually when I look at myself, I'm like, yeah, this is just not gonna get any better.
But like, yeah, I've lost air. Like the writing is on the wall. I've lost the air. His battle copters have free reign, and even if I did build new air, then he already has the entire air out. Meanwhile, my anti-air is not getting to anything, and it's been spotted. So, ooh, rough.
So here I was also saying, okay, if I don't finish this soon, I can make this black boat sink by not having fuel. Like, look, it has 10. If I use another power, I would have sink it in like 5 turns. So it could have
A couple times in this game I've been considering just deleting the black boat so as to have an HQ tiles to reinforce from and get the 5 defense. Decided against it when I found out it could just fuel my battle copter.
And here I was so confident to attack with my copter to the recon because of this anti-air here, and I was
Yeah.
not expecting you to have two. And I want to make sure you don't have any vision whatsoever, because if you don't have vision, you can attack me. That's
No.
that's a rule in FOC.
it's yeah, it's hard coded interaction.
Yep.
No vision, no shooting.
And here I look at this right now and I see I'm overwhelming you, but I was expecting you like to have three
Nah,
chains of
man.
tanks coming, like, but
But you couldn't know they hadn't kept the base until turn 7. So
yeah, I don't know. I always have this feeling in folk. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah, no, you should. You're right. You should always expect the best of your opponents, but I'll get you another day.
no, no, not that. I mean the feeling of I'm always losing.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know.
I feel you.
And here I think I save money to wheel a battleship here next turn,
Good going.
because I was
Love
still thinking that you had a lot of units coming here. Like, I don't know why.
love me some battleships.
And superpower.
Well, yeah.
And you try to push me. And
Battleships, man.
yeah.
And you know, it's decent. Like it's a last stand, so I'm doing my best. I think It's all right. It's all right. I mean, you know, I've lost at this point, so I'm still trying to go through the motions and play as optimally as I can.
But look at
Cut my losses.
look at your value, man. Like, look at your value
Yeah.
right now. Right now, you are not that bad.
To be honest, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Cynic, I feel like if you would have retreated to get a decent amount of repairs, I feel like you could have closed it your next push because you would have had reinforcements by then,
Mm-hmm.
just in case. Because you didn't have your anti-air anymore. You lost it, so I feel like you should have backed up because battlecopter is kind of a threat, especially you had more than
Yeah.
2 of them,
Yeah.
and pretty much he's gonna have tanks too. So I feel like backing up probably would have been a better situation.
But
So
I
even if you are winning it, I feel like you should still back up because sometimes when you kill their troops or whatever, they normally have something within the area, within 2 turns of the area, so you shouldn't constantly stay aggressive.
Also got to repair these infantries. Like if you're going to be serious about this HUQ cap, like you either bring more infantry to your strong side, or you repair and you repair the one that's already there. So like this 8 HP. Of course, we're in the middle of the typhoon. You couldn't have called it, but this should be going back to the garage next turn.
yeah, totally agree with that. And here I just try to cap, and here I moved this here to get vision because I didn't have vision of this tank because of
Yeah.
the rain, and use my medium tank to destroy some tanks, destroy this mech,
Beautiful, beautiful.
and spotted this artillery, and it was like, and I knew
Out of
I knew
position.
you retreated with it, but I was expecting it to be around here, but it was here, so I would just use my copter and my recon to finish.
Yeah,
Well, not much.
try and finish. Try
Yeah.
and finish.
Yeah. The intention is what matters.
But yeah, the artillery is going to roll up and it's going to seal it for this front. Like you've definitely won now, the weak side. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I feel like my victory on my weak side is not conclusive enough to warrant keeping this game up. I've lost my strong side because of not reinforcing it properly, and now I'm just going through the motions and using the next. Yeah, I'm going to get trapped here and concede right away, I think.
Is that a glory battleship that I see?
Yeah, yeah, you're still right.
And here it is.
I mean, my game plan with this battleship is like, okay, I'm stopped here in the strong side, but I will be able to take these properties with this battleship. So I will just attrition him to death, but it was not needed at the end. So GG.
I feel like
I'm not gonna
I feel
lie,
like
a battleship can be very handy, especially like I did this one against Cat Bay, and I could have won if I was not a new back then, but I pulled out a battleship as a winning move. I just couldn't capitalize on it because he had like three Audis coming on my position, and I pulled out a battleship, and he completely had to stop his assault. So
Right.
a battleship is not a bad move. It's just that you need to know how to capitalize on it because you just defend, then you're basically saying to your opponent, hey, I just pulled out a unit that has this range locked.
I mean,
Uh, I'm
the,
gonna give you time to counter it. But
but
if it pushes you forward, then yeah, man, pull it out.
You can't get with the battleship.
yeah, you can't really go far.
so if I put it here around my death ball, I
Oh,
was
then yeah,
I was
that's pretty
thinking
good.
about controlling these properties
Mm,
and
mm, mm, mm.
just
Which you
like
already were.
play for the long game.
Yeah, yeah, as you should.
And that's it. I think it was a nice game. I mean, we should repeat it soon.
Yeah, always a pleasure to discover some new maps, and I've been loving the fog. Playing as Drake is definitely taking me out of my comfort zone, but I think I've learned a valuable lesson here about the importance of just playing to your strong front and yeah, just cap those base.
Yeah,
I just like Cynic's play on his weak side this game because
Yeah, it was pretty
he's
good.
done a lot. He's done a lot to retain information from me and put me in a spot where I have infantry on my strong side, but I have nothing to do with it. And it stayed there the whole game, and in the end, it couldn't defend the the few properties that I had used to get ahead of Cynical. So
thank you so much for coming, everyone. And maybe next time we will do something else.